Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's fourth and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 will take us to the 15th of October. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the GFS and ECM ensembles. Maybe on track a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFSB2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. Gets us more or less to the beginning of November. And I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just say about the first video series, our 6 UK weather forecast. We've also released a weekend forecast on the EC42 day as well. Please like, share, and subscribe on all of today's videos and content. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that for GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much, everyone. Now, the 2025 calendar, blimey, we are virtually sold out. We've got about 4 left now. Of the calendars show the first batch is virtually gone. Thank you so much, everybody, for for purchasing the calendar. It's been unbelievable. The response has been absolutely amazing. I thought it would sell quite well, because it's a high quality product, but I've been completely blown away. But in just like a few days since we launched it. But when was it we launched it? Was it Tuesday? Just like less than 5 days, we've virtually sold out of our first batch. So thank you so much, everybody. We have still got like 3-4 calendars left. So if you'd like to get yourself a calendar, you can still purchase one by sending £12.50 to the GavsWeatherVids PayPal page. You'll find a link in the description with this video. We're probably going to do a second batch later on in the year, closer to Christmas, and for a little bit of Christmas merch and whatnot. But unbelievable. Thank you so much, everybody. Absolutely fantastic. And thank you so much for the support for me and for GavsWeatherVids. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. Right, okay, so let's start off the video. We've got 3 interest areas. We've got a red X just here. That is disturbance 1, by the way. It's in the Gulf of Mexico, and it looks like, that's just popped up overnight, almost, and it looks as though that is going to be our next tropical storm and or hurricane, with a 70% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days, and a 90% chance of cyclone formation in the next 7 days. So that's definitely going to be one to watch. Then we've got Hurricane Leslie down here. That is currently a Category 1 hurricane, giving maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour. Clicking on Leslie and going here, we can see that this hurricane is going to be moving northwards through the central subtropical Atlantic through the course of the next few days, ending up somewhere around here through Wednesday to Thursday. So we shall see what happens with that. If we go up here, we can see that this is going to remain really as a Category 1 hurricane, give maximum sustained winds around 80 to 90 miles per hour. Right, that's that one done. And then, of course, we've got Hurricane Kirk, which is still a major hurricane just here. And that could be moving northwards through the weekend. And then into next week, check this out, we'll be going post-tropical, and we'll have a post-tropical storm moving through the North Atlantic into the Western Europe. Not very often you see like Western Europe, UK, France, etc. showing up on these charts from the National Hurricane Centre. So really unusual developments there with the remains of the post-tropical storm Kirk. Now go here. Excuse me, everybody. We can see that this is still a category. This is Category 3 hurricane now. Actually, I can say Category 4, but I think that's now down to a Category 3 hurricane, high end, giving maximum sustained winds of 125 miles per hour. That will be weakening though over the next few days, and so as we go to 72, 96, and 120 hours, we find that it goes post-tropical and gradually weakens down. So by the time it's moving into Western Europe, it will still be giving like maximum sustained winds of 40 to 60 miles per hour, which is a pretty strong wind for western parts of Europe. And along with heavy rain, could produce some high impact weather. Of course, where that goes, interests you, causing a lot of model uncertainty. You can see that there's quite a large potential track with this, anywhere from like southern central England, Wales, all the way down to central parts of France, covering the Low Countries and into Germany as well. Anywhere in that zone could see some quite high impact weather through Wednesday to Thursday. So it's going to be one to watch for western parts of Europe, including particularly England and Wales, but also into France as well. And we shall keep you updated on all of those developments. Of course we will. Right, central temperature is currently sitting at 11.5. That's 1 degree above the 61.9 average provisional to yesterday, to the 4th of October. So, fairly mildish start to October, nothing particularly unusual or out of the ordinary. These are the GFS upper air temperature precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're at London today. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for London. Now, check this out. We're about average at the moment, but we're going to be going a bit milder through the early part of this week, but then quite a plunge, quite a drop in the upper air temperatures again at the end of next week and into next weekend. And that will include, a northerly flow. So it looks like we're going to get another one of these recurring sort of northerly outbreaks over the end of the week and into the weekend. And then the upper air temperature will come back up again as we go into the middle part of October and on into the second half of the month. Precipitation-wise, can be quite a bit of dry weather for the next couple of days, and then we'll gradually start to more and more unsettled. When we get through to the middle of the week, then we have these rather alarming, well, very alarming, really, precipitation spikes, and of course that is from the remains of Hurricane Kirk. So, we're going off a scale with some of those precipitation spikes there, which, after all of the rain that we've had through September, would be, really quite concerning, really quite worrying. But keep in mind that low pressure might, in the end, finish up going into France. We might not get any impact from that area of low pressure. So it's causing a lot of havoc and a lot of uncertainty within model output, but it certainly is something to keep a close eye on. What's going to happen through Wednesday to Thursday. It is worrying, it is alarming when you start seeing that level of precipitation spikes, within the GFS ensemble. That's the midnight run. Let's see how the 6th then is looking. So perhaps not quite as dramatic, not quite going up the scale, but still very, very large precipitation spikes there during that midweek period, Wednesday and Thursday. So, as I say, it is worrying, it is concerning what's going to happen with this, and there could be, the risk of some really quite severe flooding for southern parts of the country. But again, if the low just passes a couple of 100 miles further south, we'll barely get any impact from it at all. Beyond that, well, looks rather showery then into the middle and second half of October. Pretty typical, though, for the middle of autumn. Temperature anomalies from the 5th through the 13th of October, about average, slightly above the south, a little bit below in the north. Not a big deviation. Precipitation anomalies from the 5th to 13th of October, drier than average for central north and western regions, but significantly wetter than average in the south and the southeast. Check out all of that rain that we're seeing there in the southeastern corner. So, on the scale here, so let's try and work that out. It is going to like 800% of average. I don't think we're quite up to 800% of average, but like certainly 300 to 400% of average, I think, we see there. Some of those southern and southeastern regions. It's worrying, but that's based on the GFS, of course. So, given the graph here, I'm almost lost for words. Given the graph here, that's that anomaly there in the far southeastern corner is kind of based on that, I guess. So, It's concerning, it's worrying, but it's one model. We're going to go through model data in a moment. Right, well, this is our latest wind from map from NoleSchool.net is looking with a deep low pressure in the Atlantic. That's breaking down the ridge. High pressure going off into Eastern Europe, and we're gradually sending a weather front into western parts of Europe ahead of that area of low. Right, well, let's start going through the chart data then. Let's have a latest UK Met Europe run. He's looking big light on Tuesday. Low pressure to the west of UK and Ireland. This is the all-important feature just here. That's the remains of Hurricane Kirk. Keep an eye on it. So as we go through to Wednesday, that low pressure is to the west of the Bay of Biscay. And then into Thursday, the low that is containing the remains of Hurricane Kirk passing through into France. So we don't get any impacts from the remains of Kirk on the UK Met Euro run. We just go into this colder, rather more showery, sort of northwesterly northerly wind, depending on the area of low pressure, start dipping through by next weekend. Right, so that's that one done. Icon again with low pressure to west-southwest on Tuesday, and we've got the remains of the Hurricane Kirk just there. Heading on into Wednesday and Thursday, well, Wednesday finds a low to the west of Portugal and Biscay. By Thursday, the low that contains the remains of Kirk is sort of around on France of the Low Countries, closer to us compared to the UK Met. Probably bring a real soaking to the far south and southeast, but the rest of England, Wales, North Scotland, probably mostly gets away with it. And then we go into that northwesterly with low pressure digging into Scotland, and so colder and showery conditions really at the end of the week and through into next weekend. Right, this is how the KMA is looking. Again, we've got the remains of Kirk heading into France there through Wednesday through Thursday, while we remain under this bigger area of low pressure. It's that low pressure actually that's protecting us from the remains of Kirk. This low here is kind of acting as a bit of a buffer and sending the remains of Kirk into France there. So we've got that low sort of to thank for getting away with it a little bit. Then we go to this cold sort of northwesterly flow at the end of the week and into the weekend. And then a ridge of high pressure building through during the early part of next week. Mostly dry, could be some cold nights though into that area of high pressure. Then we're back into unsettled conditions again. Mild in the south though by the 16th, 17th of October. Mild in the south. More unsettled up in the north though. And a southwesterly flow. Right, that's that one done. This is how the GFS midnight run is looking. Again, low pressure in control. There's the remains of Kirk just there, midday on Wednesday. We go through to midday on Thursday, and remains of Kirk have come up across England and Wales and moved out into North Sea. So that will bring a soaking to the whole of England and Wales, as we saw, excuse me, on the GFS ensemble graph. We get a big impact from the remains of Kirk there with the GFS midnight run. After that, we're cold and showery at the end of week and into the weekend, and then high pressure reaching through the country temporarily at the weekend to the start of the following week before it turns milder, wetter and windier, and we end up looking like that with low pressure to the north sinking through the country, so rather showery and rather mixed conditions. The GFS 6 again with low pressure to the west of the country. There of course is the remains of Kirk just there. An impact again, big impact from GFS 6 through Wednesday across England and Wales with the remains of Kirk pushing northwards. That brings torrential rain, risk of flooding, and also the risk of gale force winds. The gale force wind risk is particularly on the southern side of below, so that's more for France and below country, but the far south, southeast might get brought into that. Mainly that looks like a rain event though, for GFS 6 said. Again, the low pressure moves off into the North Sea. We bring the wind around to the north, and off we go into a rather cold and showery end to week and into the weekend. And then high pressure gradually slipping away into central east parts of Europe, where we get through into the beginning of the following week. So day 10, 15th of October, we're back into unsettled conditions, but also milder, with winds coming up from the southwest. And then low pressure keeps on coming through the extended range before a ridge starts to build across central and western parts of Europe. So it begins to turn drier under that ridge of high pressure there, albeit temperature probably quite mild though with the ridge. Well, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe. Make sure to everyone for doing that. Why don't drop a comment? Let's say what you think about this and all of our videos and content. And don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe too. And we thank you so much everyone for doing that. We need to put around 90 subscribers to get to 18.9k. So we're on the grind to 18.9k. Please give us a sub. And thank you so much everyone for doing that. GM again with low pressure to the west of the country on Tuesday. And so the remains of Kirk passes into France with the GM. We don't get an impact from the remains of Kirk. We just go into this rather cold and showery northerly. Then we head on into the end of week and the weekend. Still looking pretty unsettled with low pressure sitting to the west of Scotland. So further cool and showery conditions likely. And then we head to day 9 and 10 with high pressure ridging up from south, turning wind round to a southerly southwesterly direction. So becoming milder as we head into the middle part of October, but still quite unsettled up to the northwest, probably drier though down in the south and southeast. And finally, the ECM is looking like that. So the remains of Kirk just there, midnight on Wednesday. Where does Kirk go 24 hours further on? So moves from France into Low Country. So when we go through this, it looks like it's really just the GFS actually that's giving us now like a real hit, real pacing from Kirk. All the other models have trended back southwards. So we might well find that the GFS is an outlier here, and the GFS will gradually downgrade this, hopefully, over the next day or two, and it will be France that gets the impact from the remains of Kirk, because that's the way that most of the model output has gone. That's not to say the GFS is wrong, though, just that the GFS, when we go through these models, one by one, and we go through them, the GFS looks pretty isolated, I think, in its track of Kirk. But I don't want to rule anything out, because if we do get a direct hit from Kirk, as the GFS, both the GFS operational runs are showing, then you know, there could be some really quite significant, severe, high impact weather from that. I don't want to rule anything out and give people a complacent view on this just yet, but hopefully the GFS will come into line with all of the other models and trend this low into France. Anyway, beyond that, we find that we go into this rather cool, quite cold, showery northwesterly to northerly, and we might be cold enough here even for some wintry showers for parts of Scotland, snow maybe to low levels across northern parts of Scotland. Then a little transient ridge building into weekend. That could bring some quite cold nights to start weekend. But we go back into this milder, wetter and windier weather again around days 9 and 10. High pressure south and low pressure up to the north. This is a precipitation forecast based on the ECM from Tibet.com. So showery bursts gradually pushing eastwards across the country this weekend. Slowly turning more unsettled again. Early next week, there'll be further wet weather coming up from the southwest. Late Monday and Tuesday could turn very wet for a time across England and Wales. Then we're into those showery conditions. There's the rain from Kirk by the middle of the week. Notice most of that with the ECM is through France into the Low Countries, so we don't get any impacts from that below. It's too far southwards. It's a very, very close run thing, though. I wouldn't rule out that the south and southeast could turn very wet from that, but at the moment on this ECM run, anyway, like the wet weather from Kirk, the rain from Kirk, is over on the other side of the channel. We go to this northerly then at the end of the week as Kirk sort of clears off into Germany and whatnot, and then we're quite cool, showery, and cold enough for showers to turn to snow across central and also northern parts of Scotland. A little bit drier for a time over the weekend, but more heavy rain may start piling in from the Atlantic around day 9 and 10, and overall we just keep it pretty mixed. These are the updates on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10 from the Icelandic Metop. It gets to the 15th of October. 11 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure dominating across west parts of Europe. Low pressure is out in the Atlantic. Actually mostly dry, but should mostly dry and probably quite warmish as well. Well, certainly mild with winds coming up from more of a southerly or southwesterly direction. In comparison, though, conversely, got 10 just here with low pressure in off the Atlantic. Obviously, that's going to be quite unsettled. We've got another 10 just here. Let's change the colour, shall we, with low pressure in control across the North Atlantic into northern and west Europe. 9 with plenty of low pressure for the north and west of Europe. 6 with low pressure in from the Atlantic, higher pressure down towards France maybe. That does include the control in the operational run. And then 5 just here with low pressure again to the north, some higher pressure to the south, and winds are coming up from a west or southwesterly direction. So, I mean, most of the options were unsettled. We've got 10 there, but unsettled. Another 10 are very unsettled. That's 20. We've got 9. That's 29 that are unsettled. And then 6 here are pretty unsettled. We have got, like, the 11 and the 5 there, but perhaps have a bit more influence from high pressure, particularly these 11. But I think at day 10, we're likely to still be pretty unsettled, if anything. And then in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. It gets to the 20th of October. 13 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure sitting over to the east country, mostly dry, with that low pressure way out into the Atlantic. So mainly dry, could be a little bit chilly though, and that area of high pressure winds coming in from the east. Another 13 with low pressure sitting across the north and the west of Europe. That's looking quite unsettled. And there's mid-Atlantic ridge involved with that. So that could bring some quite cool air down into the trough of low. We've got 10 with high pressure to the south and low pressure to the north. So that should settle things down as well. Probably quite mild with that, with winds coming up from the southwest. We've got 9 just here with low pressure to the northwest of Scotland. That probably keeps things a bit unsettled. And then we've got 6 with high pressure just to the southwest, brings something a little bit drier. So if we put the 13 there together with the 10 there, and probably the 6 here, we have got a majority just about. Yes, we have got a majority in favour of turning things more unsettled, but there is by 2 weeks out, but there is a significant minority, the 13 and the 9, significant minority, which is keeping things a little bit more unsettled. Finally, the CFS B2, these are 500 millibar highs, don't break down into weekly periods. So the first week period take us from the 5th to the 11th of October. The next week we'll have a blocking area of high pressure up towards Greenland ice, and with low pressure from the Atlantic into west of Europe, quite unsettled, well, very unsettled, actually, and yeah, so blocks and cool and wet, whatnot. Then go through whatnot, and then go through week 2 to up to the 18th of October. Low pressure still across the north and west of Europe. High pressure blocking around Greenland and ice. We might start to drag some colder air down into that low pressure as well. So still unsettled, but probably colder there. Then week 3 is going to be the 19th to 25th of October. High pressure somewhere to the north between Iceland and Greenland and Norway. Probably going to be some lower pressure through here, and winds likely coming in from the east. That could be quite cool. And then finally, week 4 will be the 26th of October to the 1st of November. So we see high pressure blocking around Greenland, Iceland still, low pressure in the Atlantic, but also a ridge across some parts of Europe. Quite a complicated pattern. The blocking area of high pressure will try to draw in cold air from the north, but the high pressure from the south will also try to drag up a milder air from the south and from the southwest. So, very uncertain. And the upshot of that could actually end up just with a lot of rain, really, as there will be a boundary, between the warmer air trying to come up from the south and the cold air trying to come down from the north, and so along the boundary of that, we could have quite a lot of rain. But there is a lot of uncertainty with that. Obviously, it's 4 weeks away, so not really worth worrying about, given that we've got a lot of uncertainty as early as Wednesday. Anyway, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you show everyone for doing that. Won't drop a comment. Let us know think about this and all of our videos content. Don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe to show everyone for doing that. So obviously we have got the risk, the chance, the possibility of some very severe weather from the remains of Kirk. In terms of rain in particular, I'm not too worried about wind, although there could be some very strong winds with this, but I think that's much more likely for France. But there could be some very high impact weather in terms of rainfall through Wednesday and Thursday, particularly given how wet it's been anyway. We do see as we go through all of those models that the GFS looks pretty isolated though. 2 GFS operational runs, they're the 2 that are giving us the severe weather. The rest of the model output there, UK Met, Icon, KMA, GEM and the ECM have all trended back low pressure southwards. ECM very close one thing that I have to say from the far south, but they've all trended below pressure southwards, and so it could well be that like the next 2 or 3 GFS runs will come into line and push that low pressure into France, and we get away with it. But it's still one to watch, and we'll be updating you tomorrow on our live stream, of course, when we do our 10 to 14 day live stream. So tomorrow, I'll just start something on the channel tomorrow. Gonna have a 6 AM broadcast. We've got the 6th winter 2024-25 update. Gonna be an absolute epic. We're looking at September to winter data for the analogs part of that 6th update. Unbelievable. Going to be a real true epic. And then we'll be live at 5:30, one last live stream at 5:30, and after that live streams will go back to gap time, 6 PM. But one last Sunday live stream at 5:30 tomorrow. We'll discuss the 6th winter update. We'll do a 10 to 14 dayer, see if the GFS has indeed come into line with the other model output down to the remains of Kirk, and we'll show you some long range in that live stream as well. So it's going to be a proper epic, and that'll be from 5:30, 6:30 tomorrow. Right, well, that's it for today's videos and content then. I've got a busy day ahead, get the 6th winter update together, so you enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I shall see you tomorrow. But for this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.